Okay, everybody, I think we are live. Hello and welcome. You are all here today for the inaugural live GameMakers 2021 Drunk Game Awards show. Today, we are going to talk about the best and worst of free-to-play games and the game dev industry for 2021. We'll keep it loose, informal, casual, but also hopefully we have a little bit of discussion and debate. With you here, you have myself, J Diggity Dog, aka the Kiminator, aka Joseph Kim, CEO of Leela Games, and we have a great industry panel for you today. And maybe we can have all of our speakers introduce yourselves in alphabetical order. Just quickly say who you are and what you are drinking today. Starting with, let's see here, Javier Barnes. Who are you? What are you drinking?
That's actually a good question. Sometimes I don't even know myself. I'm a game designer with 10 years of experience, and what I'm drinking, it's cider. So I'm going full hipster.
All right. Next, we have Josh Burns. Josh,
Hi.
who are you? What are you drinking?
I'm Josh Burns. I'm actually currently searching for a job. It's a full-time job. So after this, if you want, just hit me up. I'm very open to any opportunities. I'm also, Eric, I'm wearing my Kingdoms of Camelot. Merlin is my homie t-shirt that I found when I was cleaning out my closet just for you.
You are so cool.
Like, I know.
I don't know.
In a poo brown, specifically. Whoever picked that color, kabam. And I'm drinking White Claw. Ooh.
White Claw. There we go. That's what I'm drinking too. Next, we have Shannon Chang.
Hey guys, I've been in the games industry like a decade, investor, partially retired, but recently came out of retirement as the head of operations and marketing and product for Trading TV. And tonight I am drinking a bottle of cachaça from my recent trip to Brazil. I came back with like 2 cases. This stuff's great.
Shannon, are you a Bitcoin billionaire?
Not quite billionaire, but hopefully one day.
All right. Niklas Herriger. Who are you? What are you drinking?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Niklas. I'm certainly not a Bitcoin billionaire. I'm an executive coach for startup CEOs and CTOs, and I am drinking 4-Point KSA Kolsch today, locally brewed in San Francisco. And I'm trying to open this now without making a gigantic mess.
All right. And then we have Matthew Kanterman. Matthew, who are you? What are you drinking?
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm a senior analyst with Bloomberg Intelligence. I'm in Hong Kong, so I'm repping Asia here. So even though it's 7:30 in the morning right now, I'm drinking coffee with Japanese whiskey in it. So I'm participating fully. And as you can see in my background, I'm also a co-host of the Into the Metaverse podcast. So you can check that out as well.
All right. And we next have Eric Kress. Eric,
Yes.
who are you? What are you drinking?
I'm Eric Kress. I am on the Deconstructor of Fun podcast, and I also am an analyst for Wall Street hedge funds, and I work for Warner Brothers and the NFT company Forte. So I do lots of things in the space, and I unfortunately am 70 days sober, so I am drinking coffee. And my goal to become 15% body fat by 50, I am going to be sober for the next 6 months, unfortunately. So,
all right. And next, Ken Landen.
Yeah, I'm not shooting for that 15 by 50. I'm more going for the Gabe Newell bot. So I'm a lead PM at Scopely. I'm drinking white trash Jägermeister today. So
there we go.
Repping all the fat white dudes out there.
Represent.
All right. And finally, we have Brian Peganoff. Who are you? What are you drinking?
I'm Brian. I was most recently at Glue in corporate development and strategy, and I spent 15 years at Deutsche Bank prior to that. The last 9 months mainly focused on the investor space and founder space with crypto and video games. Today, I am drinking something local. It's called Gray Whale Gin. It's made in Sebastopol, California, not too far from here, and it's fantastic.
All right. And so just getting things started, I do want to just have a quick note of caution, just a reminder, drinking and discussion and debate sometimes don't go that well together. So let's keep it loose, but it would be sad if somebody got canceled or fired as the start of 2022. So just be a little bit careful, but as always, I think we should always speak our minds to the best that we can. And starting with our first category, the first category is which games industry company was the biggest winner in 2021? And the way that we're going to run this is that we have a number of our panelists here. I will call on one of them to submit their view on who they think should win this category. They'll talk about it. We'll have a little bit of discussion and debate, and then we will take a vote. So starting with you, Ken, who do you think should get this award for the biggest winner in 2021 in terms of games industry company? Who and why?
Yeah, my winner for this was MiHoYo, and that was primarily for one reason of Genshin Impact kind of coming out of nowhere, I would say, for most of us in the West. I don't think a lot of people could have pointed to who MiHoYo was 2 years ago. They started developing in a really unknown way for all of us Westerners, and then within 1 year within development, they grossed over $2 billion in revenue, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It's unprecedented in our industry. There obviously are game developers out there that have grossed more in the past year, but for a fairly new company with a huge amount of pipeline in the works, it's just absolutely mind-blowing to see. It's super inspiring. And if you take a look at the revenue trends, they're not going away. Like they're consistently pulling in money month after month, a year out, and it's just going to continue going into 2022 and 2023.
How much have you spent in the game? I think that's what I want to know.
If my wife sees this, dude, divorce money, not good money. Yeah.
Enough. How about that? Enough.
Yeah, too much, probably.
All right. Any other thoughts on MiHoYo? Anyone want to chime in here on Ken's pick?
Yeah, I'll just note that, they were also, the game itself is amazing, but they were also really a big driver of the commission fee wars in China. They were one of the first companies to avoid the major Android app stores. And for those that don't know, there's no Google Play Store in China. So every platform has its own, and they usurped the big ones and went to smaller ones to get a lower commission rate. And actually their success was a big driver of the commission wars in China. So not only was the game so impressive and well made, but it actually had a big impact on the Chinese mobile game industry overall.
Okay.
I think another impressive thing was just that their development cost is also super economical, right? Like when we think about a company grossing $1 billion a year, we're expecting them to spend like 1.2 in UA, right? And these guys are reportedly spending, they spent $100 million to make the game and $200 million a year to operate it. And they're grossing $2 billion on top of that, which is mind blowing. It's just phenomenal business.
But they also had an amazing go-to-market strategy with tons of influencers, tons of like grassroots marketing. Like they spared no expense. They were actually took, I think, Teamy's approach in terms of blasting this thing out there and getting as much. And on top of it, they have the monetization design that is fucking egregious. Like it is like so predatory in its definition, right? And people are so shied away from this gotcha stuff, but they don't give a fuck, right? And that's, I think, the big thing with them is that they, like Riot or Blizzard could never do this. I mean, I think it's what they should do, frankly, but like, they don't have any restrictions that the Western publishers have with all this bullshit around gotcha, so they take advantage of their situation in the marketplace, right? So.
Yeah. One of my thoughts as a monetization designer is that even though it's egregious, it could be way more egregious. Like they have a pity system built into their gotcha, right? Like if you didn't want to do that, you could break so much more money. But yeah, there's plenty of places for them to keep on pushing the monetization the next 2 years. So it's going to be a rocket ship.
All right. And for our second nomination, Javier, do you want to state your nomination here?
Hopefully I don't look like a fanboy, but my nomination is Riot Games. this has been their year. I think all of these spin-off products of League of Legends, like Wild Rift and TFT, which I was a bit skeptic on the sense that they were not working as League of Legends, of course, but they were massively successful in China. So that has set them up as one of the few Western companies that is able to be very successful on Asia as well. And on top of that, Arcane and all the partnerships they've done, that has brought their IP to a whole new level. And I think they are set to win. They're now in a completely different situation.
All right, Eric, what's that look on your face?
I'm going to have to respectably disagree. I would actually put them in the biggest loser category of anything because Wild Rift was a train wreck, right? It didn't do anything in the West. The whole goal was to build a game for the West that would do well. Like they stated goal, right? Of course it's going to do okay in China. They have Tencent backing them, right? And TFT doesn't monetize either, right? So, and then, I mean, I look, Valorant is a big success for them, and I'll give them credit for that, but that wasn't this year. But Wild Rift and TFT just seemed like huge disappointments from their performance in the West. That's what I would say. But yeah, moving on. And App Annie, your next one. I'm preempting this one. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, App Annie. But...
All right. Well, quick comment on Riot, though. I mean, you got to say Arcane was incredible, right? I mean, just in terms of the industry loved the ratings. Like I've never seen a Metacritic, or not Metacritic, but like a Rotten Tomato rating as high as it got. And it was just incredible series. So. And then I'm trying to look up the Wild Rift numbers right now, but I don't remember it being terrible. But I would say for Arcane, it's you gotta think. I don't know. I think that was a pretty massive accomplishment. Shout out to Thomas Fu, great job. Anyway,
have they released any organic uplifts from that yet? Like any PMs let slip how well that show has helped their other parts of their business?
I haven't seen it, but like you saw Twitch numbers for like League of Legends and Valorant spike when Arcane came out. So clearly there was an engagement boost. Whether that translates into revenue or whatnot is, we will find. Well, maybe we won't find out because Riot doesn't really say anything. But there was clearly at least an engagement boost if you look at things like Twitch downloads of apps, etc.
Okay. Well, So hey Eric, Kress. So I'm showing Wild Rift as doing 200 million.
It did
70, is that mainly China or is that?
Yes, it did 70 million in the West, 70 million ex China on 54 million downloads.
Okay,
that is an epic failure for a game that big and the IP that big. I mean,
Nevertheless, I'm going to add that according to somebody that we love and we respect, MOBAs do not work in the West.
Yes, that's my next one. We will get to that. We will get to that, and I will show
except
you.
for Mobile Legends, to some degree. All right, and so we have biggest winner, MiHoYo, Riot Games. I'm gonna say App Annie.
What a surprise!
Sponsored by App Annie.
How did Eric know?
Because I kind of wrote about this before in a previous GameMakers newsletter post, but they're kind of coming out of this SEC ruling. I think that the use of MNPI for a lot of their competitors, in my view, this year is going to have an impact. We may see a lot of their competitors disappear, so or be highly challenged. So anyway, that's my vote for biggest winner. And Brian, who do you got?
Yeah, I got a safety pick. I'm going to nominate Microsoft. I think it's been a banner year for them. The acquisition of Bethesda, bringing them into the fold and growing the Game Pass subscription business past 20 million and growing. I think it's a good narrative for investors, and I think that it's going to underwrite bigger deals from Microsoft in the future to aggregate more content. I think similarly with Sony, I think those two companies are the ones that are still very much in tune with developing experiential games over 2 to 3 year time periods and not getting mixed up in timelines and things like that. So looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Right. Yeah. I've been personally really impressed with Game Pass more than I thought. I mean, I know they're running a shit ton of promotion for it, but definitely seems like it could be pretty material in the future.
Yeah, and they added EA Origin to the Game Pass. They just added Ubisoft Plus to the Game Pass. They even got Sony to put MLB The Show day and date release into Game Pass, which I have played way too much of. I love that game, and I'm very happy it's on Xbox because I got the Xbox Series X. So I think Microsoft has been building this vision of this subscription service for a while, and I think they've stuck to it over the long term, and there's a lot more to go, just as Brian said.
To be clear, MLB got baseball onto Microsoft, not Microsoft. So.
Fair, but still, I mean, I don't think anyone would have thought that a Sony game would have ever shown up in Game Pass, up until it happened.
What I am expecting is with my PlayStation to be able to connect into the Game Pass cloud gaming. That will be, if I can play from my PlayStation to Xbox games,
you're out of your mind.
Absolute win.
You're out of your mind. What are we talking about here? Come on.
I think Phil Spencer would sign up for that. If Sony handed him a term sheet, he would sign it. I think Microsoft fully would do that. Sony would never do it. Exactly.
But I know what happens in the console is pretty shady because you go into their website and the website is somehow blocked. So it's super shady how they are able to block me using my device to navigate to a website that is not owned by them. I don't know.
I think the chances of that being okay are as big as the chances of an Android, operating system running on an iPhone. I'll take bets against that.
Dude, Apple is like fucking ruthless, man. They're just like out of control ruthless.
That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna throw shade at Sony? Like, come on, like get out of here. All right, who's next?
All right, so Josh, you can only nominate one company. Who do you got?
I'm gonna have to go with Roblox. I mean, we got Metaverse. I mean,
Still Kress.
Wait, how can you say Roblox has something Metaverse related? They still have just Roblox.
But I think they have first mover advantage. They have a lot of momentum. They have 15 years behind them. I think the stock was looking pretty tasty for a while, but I like who the team they brought on. So I'm going to go with Roblox. I'm sorry if Eric's disappointed with that.
No. I thought you were going to take AppLovin so that I could take Roblox.
I can do that too if you want, but I was told to only pick one.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a case for AppLovin. That MoPub acquisition, pretty. I mean, good for AppLovin. Not great for the industry, but good for AppLovin.
They may be the biggest winner this year, AppLovin, but they're going to be the biggest loser this year. But
I don't think so.
Quickly on Roblox, my perspective is like on the stock side of it, right? Like if you look at the stocks, it was a brutal year for stocks in the publicly traded space. Everyone got destroyed, okay? Except for Roblox. Roblox was up 30%. It was up 70% at one point. It's now back down to probably only up 10%. But clearly they're the ones that won the hearts and minds of the investor who's chasing rainbows and unicorns with all this metaverse and NFT stuff. So I think Roblox was the big winner from that perspective. And then I agree with Mio is definitely insanely successful, and AppLovin navigated these murky waters with this, this Apple nonsense. They did really well. They're really smart.
They're ruthless too, though. They
are ruthless.
They don't care what any of us have to say, man. They just keep plugging away. They're going to come into non-gaming area and just crush next year. I don't know.
Agreed.
All right, guys, let's take this to a vote. So we've got MiHoYo, Riot, App Annie, Microsoft, or Roblox. So starting with MiHoYo, who votes for MiHoYo as the games industry company that was the biggest winner in 2021? I guess you guys could just raise your hands. We got 3. Okay.
Really? Interesting.
Okay, who votes for Riot Games? You don't have to vote for your combination.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, there you go. Conviction.
All right, who votes for App Annie? I nominated. Okay, I guess I'll have to. I was gonna actually. Brian convinced me to try and vote for Microsoft, but I guess I should vote for my own. And who votes for Microsoft?
1. Nice.
All right. And Roblox?
Ooh,
For sure, Roblox,
Got
man.
two.
I bought it at like 67 a share and sold before 140.
Nice.
I'm kind of torn. Like, so if we're 3-3, I could like maybe switch to Roblox, but like for the business case, the stock case, maybe Roblox is a clear winner. But
I mean,
don't
I've
know.
said it.
I don't think
I've said
Genshin's
it
going to
on.
get dethroned for a couple of years.
I've said
Well,
it on
it's
our
not just
podcast.
the stock case. Sorry,
Roblox will be
Matthew,
a $1 trillion company. Now, I don't know when, but they have, as Josh said, first mover advantage in the metaverse. If you just look at kind of the services they're rolling out on top of the core gaming platform, concerts, live events are going to be massive. So that's why I'm there.
Matthew,
And not just that, they also brought in all these brand partnerships. They have Nike, they have Vans, all these, athletic brands that are targeted towards a younger audience. And, those kids are going to grow up. So,
Matthew,
by the time they're 18 plus and they can actually buy stuff online, it's a solid business.
They have to offer products that are worth buying, though. Like, loads of people are on MySpace for a while until Facebook came around and just
they have a demographic problem. And Matthew, I listen to all the stuff you do, and I think you're really, really good at what you do. But I don't agree with you on the Roblox thing. I think Roblox is going to have a huge problem growing to where their expectation of growth is, both from a geo and from a demo perspective. And then we have Epic in the pipeline this year, building out their tools and technology, which should take a while to do. But yeah, I don't know. I get a little bit worried about Roblox. I think their content is not good enough. So we'll see.
All right, let's run this off then. Let's vote between the two. Who votes for MiHoYo?
I'm going to stick with Mio.
1, 2, 3.
I'm changing.
Okay, and Roblox.
Waffling.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Roblox
Roblox
wins. Woohoo!
Do we have to drink?
Now we drink, right?
Yeah, everybody's drinking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What wasn't that the no after? Yeah. Okay.
I've been drinking all the time. I didn't know what we had to wait.
Same.
Just keep
Yeah.
Came here, but I wanted to make it official.
All right, what's next? Let's see.
biggest
All right,
loser.
biggest loser. Okay, this should be fun. Which games industry company was the biggest loser in 2021? And we're going to start with our first nomination from Brian. Who do you got?
Nice. CD Projekt Red. I think if I take a step back and look at all the things that Microsoft's doing right, I think that CDPR did the exact opposite. Anytime I see that much fanfare and froth around a upcoming game launch, it's just not the way things should be going. I think it ultimately polluted a very good game based upon management decisions, and off we go. That's my vote.
Okay. All right, Ken, who do you have?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm like legally covered here because none is pertinent to me. These are my opinions and not the opinions of my former employer. So I have Activision here. Stock was down, I think at one point almost 50% in the year. Just crazy for a $60 billion company. Massive brain drain. I mean, I shared just recently today, like the lead quest designer for WoW is out. So many amazing designers and developers and creatives are just like fleeing the company. This is a complete culture clash.
Ken.
Yeah. Okay.
Move on.
Okay. I'll move on. I don't want to get like sued into the ground, but yes, Activision.
All right, my nomination is Facebook. We saw what a huge impact the whole Apple IDFA deprecation issue had on Facebook. In my view, it seemed like this was more of a personal beef of some kind because it did seem like Apple was specifically targeting Facebook, allowing fingerprinting to continue because they know that continues, that helps steal share from Facebook. We saw many publishers, prior to IDFA deprecation who had say like 25 to 30% of revenue on iOS coming from fan drop to near zero or single digits at best. And so my pick here is Facebook. And Josh, did you want to comment here on something?
No, I think it was impactful, but Facebook just chugs along, man. have such scale that they'll figure out a solution, and they have a million other things going on. So,
Right.
I mean, you talk to the people there, it's like a speed. I mean, it's a big deal, but sort of not really, because they have so many people working on solutions and other things that I don't know. Yeah.
Joe, how come you're calling them still Facebook?
Oh, Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Meta.
Another fail from them. Yeah.
All right. Eric Kress, who do you got?
You know, I have to admit, there are so many losers this year. Like, if you're just talking about this year, like, it was a disaster. It was an absolute train wreck across the board. Like, there's no one was left standing. Everyone was down. Like, every single publicly traded company, Take-Two, EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Zynga, whatever. So it's only the degree of losers, right, this year, right? So the biggest loser from a stock perspective was Stillfront, which I've been railing against the machine since the beginning, even though I love them. I love you guys if you're listening. But they were down like 54%. The stock was down. And then followed that by Ubisoft, which was down 45%. Like, they've just gotten freaking annihilated, right? And they're still going down because they got nothing, right? But I have to agree that overall, in terms of the overall impact, like in terms of dollars, Activision is probably the biggest, where it was down 30%. But that's like billions and billions of shareholder value just fucking lost in months, right? It's just nutty, right? But
Yeah,
I have to admit, go ahead.
I would say Activision to me is quantitative and qualitative. I mean, the qualitative stuff I think is the brain drain is insane for them, and I think that's going to have pretty severe long-term impact.
Wait, don't get me started on glue. Please don't get me started on glue.
People in the audience on glue.
Yeah. So Zynga gets the honorable mention here because I was such a bull on Zynga for so long, but they just hit a freaking brick wall, and they are so unprepared for IDFA that they are just like shooting blanks out there. And I don't know. I can't even see a situation in which they can recover from this thing. So their stock is down like 30% and probably more now. It's down to $6 a share, which is quite sad.
Well, Eric, what do you think about Zynga's acquisitions this year?
Well, what do you mean? Which ones? Like
Chartboost, Starlink.
No.
And
Chartboost is just another problem, right, to solve, right? They don't have the core mechanics of UA ready, much less do they have the ability to try to integrate stuff like that. So it's just all a pipe dream.
They even talk about Chartboost in their last earnings. I didn't see anything.
No, I don't think so.
What they're doing.
The Rollic acquisition was good. They basically shored up their advertising. That's like been the only thing that's like been a positive. But I mean, sorry, I don't want to go on a big Zynga rant, but the fundamental problem here is that Zynga has done all these acquisitions. They've got the revenue from those acquisitions, but they have no titles in the pipeline to contribute. And the titles that came from the acquisitions have done shit. And Farmville's not doing much. So there's no way they can grow organically next year, and that's their biggest problem. And they have no products in the pipeline that are interesting. So there we go. So my vote is still Activision, though. Activision is the biggest loser this year for sure.
I think we can vote.
Yeah.
Well, no, we got one more. We've got Matthew, but I'm actually, before Matthew you start, I'm surprised, Eric, you didn't mention Skills, because I think peak to trough.
Skills. Oh, God, yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but Skills isn't a gaming company. They don't care.
Yeah, Skills is not a real company.
Skills is a gambling company.
Yeah, dude, it's a criminal organization, right? So, like, I don't even consider it a gaming company, but you're right. Skills is by far the worst.
And just
$40
so everyone's aware, JK, Steve, and I did Super Stonk Bros on Skills back in May, and it was actually May the 4th, and we literally top ticked the stock. So, not to be like we're smart or anything, we got lucky. We're better to be lucky than good, but definitely, that's. I don't even want to talk about Skills as a gaming company because it's not.
My clients made a lot of money on Skills because that was a short
on the short side. Oh yeah,
short. Yeah.
They had a great year. They picked up Victor Wang this year, one of our homies. So they're
he's good. Victor's good. So they got a chance.
Well, okay, so you got to separate out stock and people, because when we rant on stocks, it doesn't mean we don't like the people necessarily. But yeah. So, anyways, my pick, although I might not actually vote for it, but I just wanted to talk about Ubisoft because, yes, the stock was down. There's been issues in the background with people culture, but the biggest thing for me is you get the sense from this company that they don't actually know what they want to be. Like, I feel like senior management is kind of like a puppy chasing a butterfly sometimes. we want to be an NFT blockchain game company. Oh no. Now we're a metaverse company. Oh no. Now we're making free to play. No, now we're mobile. Like they don't have a strategy. They're chasing the latest thing. And if you're constantly shifting resources and constantly changing your focus, you're never going to be good at one thing. And for me, that's almost the biggest problem. It's from the top down, is that they don't have a vision of what they want to be.
Yeah, I've been ranting about that for a long time.
Are there many companies that do have a good, strong vision for themselves?
No.
Dude, yeah, hell yeah. EA,
Hell yeah.
Activision, Take-Two.
Absolutely.
They all know exactly where they are,
Okay.
what they want. You may not agree with it. You may not
Okay.
like it, but they know what they want to be.
Okay.
Right.
So putting it to a vote, we are voting for either CD Projekt Red, Activision, Facebook, Stillfront, or Ubisoft. And you don't have to vote for your own. We'll just put it that way so that we can get it'll be easier for us to get a winner. So who votes for CD Projekt Red as the games industry company that was the biggest loser in 2021?
I'm actually not voting for mine.
Okay. Next, Activision. Whoa.
Almost
The only person
unanimous.
the only
a lot of
person that's
hate.
not voting
Bad.
for them currently works for them. So
Okay, Facebook. I already voted for Activision, and Stillfront. And okay, Javier, who are you voting for?
I'm not voting on this one.
Okay.
he's got to abstain. He's got to abstain.
Switzerland.
I think a lot of companies lost across the board, like Eric said. And in fact, I think that the biggest losers are probably the ones that are jumping into business models that they don't understand, and they don't, just because they need something to get the investors excited.
Right.
So.
Okay, moving on to the best game, either HD or mobile. And starting with Niklas, who do you got? Who do you nominate for the best game of 2021?
Valheim, straight up.
Good
It's a great game. I think, not for anything specific, but more just like how immersive it is and how much, the experience and how you play it. So that's one thing. Then I really like, the variety it provides. It's great single player. It has this co-op mode. There's PvP possible, but it doesn't just go like, oh, you're doing battle royale and like just yet another one of those. I particularly like the base building in the game, and then venturing out. It somehow is different from other games in the genre. And then I think the biggest reason for me to pick it is just keeping in mind that it said out there like there are 5 guys that made this game. I think whoever has ever worked on a game, and obviously everybody here has, and probably the entire audience, that is just an astounding accomplishment. How you can make such a game so big, so refined, and all of these things. And this, I'm not saying it's perfect, but if you can pull this off with 5 guys, chapeau, I'll pull my hat to that. And so that's the clear winner for me.
And Brian, I know you also like Valheim, right? What are your thoughts
Yeah,
on Valheim?
100%. That was my game of the year, based upon time spent, money spent. It was actually one of those things where like the co-op was so good that I learned how to set up a private server, and then realized it was going to cost me like $70 a month to run it because my friends were building giant like spaceships.
That's a commitment.
So it was just, I'm very into co-op games. I'm very into games that bring co-op forward, and it makes me excited about games that are coming over the next few years because they can inspire them. So it's not the biggest commercial success, and it had 5-10 million downloads or whatever, but for me that was the one that stuck.
All right, cool. Ken, let's hear your surprise pick for this game of
everybody already
2021.
knows where I'm going with this one. This is Genshin Impact. It's one of the best master classes of art and bait and switch gameplay that you can imagine. Gets you super immersed into this Zelda-like exploration phase, just to smack you with, like as Eric said, an egregious gacha system that you have to grind on for the next 2 years. That's shown in its revenue. I think this is Genshin or MiHoYo's like second game, and again, $2 billion. It's just mind blowing. It's the most profitable game in its first year of development, and is not showing any signs of letting down. Engagement numbers were super strong. Retention numbers super strong. Monetization still there. So I don't see anybody beating it. I think there's probably an argument for, folks out there having different preferences of gameplay. Maybe it's not the most revolutionary gameplay in the world, but it's a really great ensemble of a bunch of different elements just masterfully executed upon. So, yeah,
All right, Ken, I'm going to get you a good divorce attorney, okay?
Thank you.
Keep playing your game.
Thank you.
All right. My nomination for Best Game 2021, I'm going to have to say Naraka Blade Point. This was, and I know Matthew, shout out to Bloomberg for writing a piece on Naraka, but this kind of speaks to this emerging trend that we're also seeing in terms of a lot of these China-based development studios actually producing really great games. Now, MiHoYo is an example. We've got Black Myth. We've got up and coming studios like 24 Entertainment, which is based in Beijing, published by NetEase. So Naraka, for those who don't know, it's a battle royale game up to 60 players that fight. It's martial arts themed, so you wouldn't think that it has great relevance outside of China, but still it's picking up some steam. Last November, Bloomberg did report that Naraka grossed at that time $240 million, selling over 6 million copies, and was one of the fastest selling Chinese PC games ever. And so clearly it's resonating. They're going to start pushing Naraka. Like in the game, I saw like a notification that it's already gone to mobile, but I was looking on, I was looking at the App Store today and I couldn't see it, but clearly there's some additional upside. The game actually is, I mean, for me, because I don't play a ton of PC games, it's very complex and a little bit hard to play, but definitely very innovative, very fun. And I just thought that they did an excellent job on Naraka.
Yeah, coming to mobile and console in 2022. So
okay, so it's not there yet.
Ahead.
Okay.
I think it might have soft launched. I don't think it's in full launch yet.
Got it. Okay. Eric, Kress. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm only shaking my head because it seems like a very niche title. But what I would say is that this just trend of Chinese development on AAA console and PC is a huge trend that they're just fleeing for their lives out of the Chinese market as the regulation gets more and more egregious. So you're going to see a lot more of this, like people trying to compete, or the Asian companies, Chinese companies in particular, trying to compete in the West. And I think that's a really, really interesting trend, of which this is one of them. So that's good.
Well, Eric, there was 14,000 Chinese developers that shut down in 2021.
Yeah, I saw that stat, and I'm just
crazy like that. I was like, what the hell?
Those numbers are weird.
Because 14,000 even in China seems like a lot. I don't even
know. But if you look at how Chinese companies are structured, there's lots of shells and different subsidiaries, and the way that Chinese corporate structure is done is really like wishy-washy, and so each of these entities can roll up like several layers. And so if you shut down one layer, that doesn't mean the whole thing is shut down.
But to Shannon's point, they are cracking down on this stuff and they need to go elsewhere. They can't acquire any American companies anymore because the regulators, the Biden administration is going after them. So, it's going to be interesting to see how many of these companies actually succeed in the West. So far, so good, it seems.
But for Tencent, Timmy, Lightspeed, and Quantum have been hiring like a Banshee in the LA area, right? And NetEase as well. These companies are coming especially for console. Console is like the last bastion untapped for them, and they see it. Tencent acquired Sumo Digital to really give them some of the back end tools to really enhance their console publishing.
Yeah,
MiHoYo as well. MiHoYo is moving over as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this year was not a great year for HD, unfortunately, game wise, right? I think this 2022 is going to be a lot better. I think there's going to be some big titles. So I really don't have much to add. I think the one that we have to actually say is Halo Infinite, even though it was delayed a year. The fact is they finally executed on a game. The multiplayer was really solid. The engagement was through the charts, off the charts, which was a little bit of a surprise for me, frankly. The single player was kind of boring, but it was decent. But the multiplayer has been good, and I think they executed against one of their marquee titles versus Sony, which basically had fuck all year. The second year of a console cycle, they have no games. PlayStation owners are just so forgiving on this stuff. It is ridiculous for them not to have something, So I think Microsoft executed with Halo, and I think it was a pretty good game. So I'm going to say that one.
I'm going to throw Guardians of the Galaxy in the mix. I thought this game was just a fantastic story. It was fun to play. The mechanics where you control the whole team, like it was just the most fun I had in a game all year. But I'm also going to secondarily nominate Marvel Future Revolution. That was the MMO that came out from Netmarble. You know, this was quite an impressive MMO. It was like a HD quality MMO made for mobile.
Wait,
so
guys, we need to take a drink break really quick.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked out Marvel Future Revolution, I think you should, because I think the quality of the MMO that they built for a mobile device was quite impressive.
Dude,
All right, guys, I need a shameless plug because trading has been like the most active, engaging game for me. I think free to play games are like why would I spend my money to like get nothing out of it? I'd rather actually make
Whoa! What do you mean nothing?
And then
what do you mean nothing?
Fun.
Endless. It's fantastic experiences. Endless amount of fun. What do you mean nothing?
no, but stock trading, crypto trading, NFT trading, you can actually make money on it, and it becomes an entire like community experience with the gamification. You can even do like paper trading with your friends. And then stumble on that.
These are the Metaverse Awards. I forgot.
This is just the shilling NFT awards.
Let's shill for NFT awards. I don't think that happened in 2021 except for Axie. So let's maybe in 2022 we'll see.
Yeah, if you bought Bitcoin at the start of last year and held it through the year on a risk-adjusted basis, you underperformed the Nasdaq by 30 percentage points. So
we just lost.
But if you bought when Shannon bought,
but if you bought Bitcoin back in 2013 when it was $350 a pop, and you hodled it until 2021.
On a risk-adjusted basis, Microsoft has performed just as well.
Okay, Matthew, just talking knowledge. All right,
guys, let's put this to a vote. So, who votes for Valheim?
Come on.
If Valheim lasted more than a month, I might vote.
What do you mean? Sometimes it's okay for a game just to be around for a month. It's like
I have not played it.
It lasts on Bloomberg for longer than a month, but in our hearts it lasts way longer. So
yeah.
All right, Genshin Impact. Although I gotta say, Genshin did launch in 2020. But all right. Okay, two votes. All right, Naraka Blade Point. I'm gonna vote for Naraka. Oh, 2. All right, it's awesome game.
Are you keeping track of the votes, or are you just
He's writing it in the paper back.
Yeah, I am.
And
Halo Infinite. 2 votes. Halo is actually a good game. I would agree. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's best, but it's pretty good. Let's see. What else? What Guardians of the Galaxy. And Marvel Future Revolution.
The dog also had a vote. So
That was for Valheim.
whoever dog it was.
All right, so I think we're gonna have to.
I'll break the tie. I didn't vote. What's the tie?
The tie is between Valheim, Genshin, and Naraka.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility, Josh.
I mean,
I'm about to pick the.
I don't know. I'll go Valheim just because Miyamoto already won something.
All right, well, let's run this off. Although we lost Kress, but now we've got.
I think he's choking the dog.
Between three, this is probably better. So, who votes for Valheim?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
2?
Josh, you just voted for Valheim.
And the horse dog.
3.
Kress is also voting for Valheim.
Who votes for
He
Genshin?
just messaged me about it.
3. Who votes for Naraka?
No one.
2.
Still
All right,
2.
so it's gonna come down to
Third set. Yeah, tie break.
Valheim versus Genshin. All right,
Okay.
Valheim.
All right, fine.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, well, I mean that's already
That's
the
it.
majority. All right, that's it.
Let it be
Super
written.
Valheim it is.
It's just Nordic Minecraft. You guys are crazy.
We just wanted to move on.
No.
All right,
Kress,
and-
While you were
Valheim
gone.
won.
What I missed?
Yeah.
Valheim won.
After 3 rounds of voting.
This isn't the game.
Yeah.
This isn't the
No.
game awards, guys. It's
And you're just in time for the worst game of 2021.
Oh yeah, that's a Kress question.
Yeah, it is a Kress question. But starting with the first nomination from Brian, who do you got?
I actually had a hard time with this because I don't really play a lot of games that I don't want to play. But I would say that, Diablo 2 remastered for me was a bit of a tough one. I do like that playing games that have been out before, I guess, but it just something about it. It's like I need something a little bit newer. And at the same extent, I think Call of Duty let me down a little bit this year too. I've always been one of those guys that would pay $4 times a year for the campaign, and just getting one campaign and like going back to World War II again, and just need to spice it up a little bit. And that would be mine. Very soft, worst game of the year. More like disappointing for me.
Okay. Javier, who do you got?
I have Cyberpunk 2077. I think bad launch. Just for a game you cannot launch broken, and they did also, I think, very bad damage control. They were very silent about it for several months. It wasn't clear from the fans if it was going to get fixed or not. And although they're now doing a comeback, I felt they completely missed the opportunity.
Okay.
It wasn't even a disappointment. It was a bad game, like not in a playable state.
Yeah, and also just considering all the hype around it, and it's like, ooh, right, and then it was I think it was a complete train wreck. It was not only not well executed, like I think it just plainly didn't work. So like whoever authorized to like even try to put this out there, I cannot imagine that any delay or something would have been worse than what it did, because like, yeah, even if they fix it now, the ship has sailed. It's just like, which is really unfortunate for a lot of people involved.
Yeah, I mean, this is a warning for every, well, not just public company, every company. When you're talking with your investors, CD Projekt backed themselves into a wall. They promised investors, and if you look at their compensation plans, they actually basically had to get the game out in calendar 2020 to get stock compensation for themselves. So they put themselves against a wall to release the game before the end of 2020, regardless of what shape it was in. So when there's a lot of people that make games here, and I'm just speaking from the investor community, but don't promise that. And it's been shown over time. Look at what Halo, right? They delayed that game, and it came out better in the end because they delayed it. Don't rush a game just to make money. A delayed game is usually eventually good. Isn't that what Shigeru Miyamoto used to say?
Yeah.
So,
rush games forever bad.
Don't let investors rush your game and rush your development.
Yeah, but the fundamental problem is that this team was very, very small and new, and they were very unsophisticated on how to deal with Wall Street, and they were propped up so much on the Polish exchange, right? And so like they were like the darling of Poland, right? And when you're a rock star, you have to act like a rock star, right?
They were the biggest company by market cap in Poland at the high.
Yeah. So like they got caught up in this fervor that was beyond their control and their capability.
Bad excuse.
No, it is but that's what I'm saying.
That's the reality, but it's still a bad excuse for what happened, because eventually like you have to pick up the pieces. And I quite frankly, I don't really care, if you're new to this and all of that, if there's a base level of intelligence and also multiple people, and they have both of those things, then, I mean, honestly, if you launch this, what are you expecting? Like, what's going to happen, right? Is there even like, oh, maybe nobody's going to notice? I mean, come on. Like, what's going to happen? It's a terrible product.
Take the money and run.
Yeah, correct. Right. That is,
even if they had to launch.
I think that once the shit has hit the fan, you got to deal with the consequences. You got to do damage control and probably got to bite the bullet and delay it and all of that. I'm not saying it's pretty, but out of all the options they had at that point, and they must have known that this was an insufficient product to say the least. Like, why do you still push that button if that is the worst outcome of them all, with very predictable second and third order consequences? That's the part that I don't understand, and you guys already know where my vote is going to be. But yeah,
I mean, this is my best short call in 2020, so I was well on top of this one from the get go. The tech was never going to work on current gen, so they did put their back against the wall. They had no choice but to release this thing, frankly.
This is my least or most disappointing game of 2020 by far. I took off 3 days of work to play this game, and then took back 2 of those days afterwards because I was so pissed. Went back to work.
My vote on this one is PUBG New State. Okay, I cannot even imagine this thing doing worse. Right? I was already going to say that this was going to be bad because there's no way you're going to get people to move over from a game they've spent years playing and move over to a new game. First of all, that's fucking impossible, right? The second thing was that like Tencent was not going to sit down for this and just let them build a game and try to compete directly against them. There's no effing way they would have done that, right? And so they came out with this game with a bunch of hype, pre-registration around 40 million, and this thing has died on the vine. Like they've done $9 million of revenue. If they were supposed to get to a billion with a B, if they get to like 50 million, I'll be shocked, right? That the way this thing is going. By far the biggest disappointment of the year, and there are many other ones. GTA Trilogy is up there, in my opinion. That was like
that was a personal disappointment because I was really looking forward to this, which ages me, but I'll admit that, right? It's just like, oh man, awesome, like back in the 90s, and then it just seemed like a cheap money grab, right? Like a terrible port. Where like nobody put any love into this, so I thought that was just like a letdown because I love GTA and this just sucked.
I'll stick with that one. I mean, there are other ones that I could go on and on about, but I'll do one more. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. Like, dude, I actually talk to these guys sometimes, so maybe they're not going to talk to me ever again. But like, dude, Hasbro has got to figure out a fucking interactive strategy. Like seriously, they have these brands. They got to do something with them. It's
wait, Eric, didn't Hasbro acquire Backflip like 6-7 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they just shut it down, right?
Yeah. So like let's build a good game, right? Let's try that. With your license.
Is that the Ludia game?
What?
Is that the Ludia game or a different one?
I think that's a different.
I think JK should talk about the loot.
That's after my time.
But on the mobile side, I would actually put. I'm sorry, I hate to do this. Well, we're gonna do this later, but like, you got to put the Riot game on there, Wild Rift. You got to put that on there.
How many games are you coming out with, Eric?
You got to put Wild Rift on there. There's no way.
Those are the stick awards.
There's no way that Riot said we are doing $60 million in the West for our biggest fucking franchise ever. Right?
But it's not a bad game. We're talking about worst game, not the biggest financial disappointment. Right?
But that is Kress's definition of something bad. He doesn't care about gameplay and these, non-tangible, numbers don't lie things. It's all about dollars.
Yeah, enterprise value.
Moving on.
Enterprise value.
No one cares.
Shareholder. Here.
I'm with New State though, and I'm actually, I am going to take it back to the dollars in the stock market. I'm surprised that Krafton stock has held up as well as it has after its IPO.
Stock.
I know that's the problem. You can't short the stock.
Wait till the lockout happens in February, dude. This thing is going to go down to fucking zero.
Yep.
They're not worth shit.
Yep.
They're not worth shit. Dude, wait.
Kress is eating up. He's secretly drinking that coffee of his.
No.
It's not true.
No, the PUBG is dude. I'm sorry to interrupt. Tencent was fucking ruthless on this shit, dude. They fucking totally bombed the store. You search for New State, PUBG New State, it goes, the first two responses are the regular PUBG game. They were like all over these guys, dude. They like mess with the wrong motherfuckers, right? Those guys are ruthless, dude. I would love to meet and talk to the person that did that at Tencent. Like it was awesome. I love it.
Tencent even does that to their own teams internally. Their own studios do that to each other. You didn't think they were going to do that to someone else? Like they go after each other. Yeah.
He's a shark. What is the expression for Tencent? The shark and the something. Bathtub.
It's just sharks over there. There's only sharks. Ken, did you want to add your spicy take, or should we call this to a vote?
We can call it to a vote. Nobody's going to agree with mine, so moving on.
All right, so we are voting for either Call of Duty Vanguard, Cyberpunk 2077, or PUBG New State, or Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. So I guess we've got those four. Did I miss anything?
GTA.
And GTA Trilogy. Okay, so 5 options. starting with Call of Duty Vanguard. Who votes for Call of Duty Vanguard?
I'm staying with this just because I'm tired of World War II and the same old.
Okay. CD Projekt.
Cyberpunk?
Or
Yeah.
sorry, Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
The White Claw's getting to me.
Same. It's so bad I can't even tell apart the game and the developer. It's just like
The
so
claw
yeah,
is
Cyberpunk.
getting, I'm feeling the claw.
Law is the law.
All right. PUBG New State.
2, 3.
Kress, are you adjusting something or are you voting? Are you doing multiple votes? Double dipping, and now you're on mute.
He's trading. He's
All
trading
right.
right now.
Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance.
It's an airplane. He's just like adjusting. You know.
He's shorting stocks during.
All right, I'm voting for D&D Dark Alliance. And anyone want to vote for GTA Trilogy? All right, so looks like the winner is PUBG New State.
I think you miscounted on
Congrats.
CD
I think you miscounted that too. I think
Oh, did I?
27 was at least.
All right.
Rewind.
Oh,
The claw is getting to me. All right, so CD Projekt. Who voted for CD Projekt?
Am I
One.
still my first vote? Or
2, 3.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
we're
yeah, it
tied.
was
Cyberpunk. Which
4.
was
Oh, okay, so CD
Cyberpunk.
Projekt wins.
Yeah, they were CD Projekt wins. But that was a 2020 title, but whatever. I'm
Yeah.
not
That's
going to split hairs.
We
All
got to
right,
be pedantic here.
next one. Biggest surprise.
All right, biggest surprise. Who do you got, Niklas?
Axie. It's. I mean, like.
I think everybody has the same thing for this one.
And no, but okay, I'll say a thing about it. So just truth be talking, you know, it's a game that personally I don't think would have appealed to me at any point in my gaming career. Not only now that I'm old, but yeah, I mean, who would have thought that this title that has already been around for a while, right, all of a sudden would become the poster child for play to earn. Right, and like to a degree where, you know, the developers or the publishers' valuation has gone, you know, in the billions, where everybody's talking about it, where, you know, a friend of mine who's in banking and has very little to do with video games recently asked me about it, and I think, like, how do you even know what that is? So that's why this is my vote for biggest surprise.
Yeah. It looks like nobody wants to submit any other candidates. I mean, I would have expected somebody to maybe say like New World or Halo, but looks like it's all Axie, all day Axie, right?
at one
I
point,
really
I thought
surprised
New World
that
was
people
worth a
consider
vote.
it a game.
But
This
yeah,
is-
it's
Yeah, it's
This
not
is
even
not a
really a
game.
game.
It's
it just drowned everything out.
More like a Tamagotchi
It's a work
Pokemon
sim.
mix, or
Yeah, somehow they've convinced people that this is a game. It's literally just a work sim. You got people in Indonesia doing this as a job.
It's a casino.
Yeah, 85%. What, 80?
You pull
sorry.
the lever, you get something potentially good, and you sell it for money. It's all a casino, except now
Yeah,
you can
and then
actually
you
cash
grind
out
a
for real.
lot.
The difference between Gacha and Genshin versus Axie is you can cash out for real money now. So it's not even like a gray line between it being a slot machine and not. Like it is a slot machine.
If I put
and there's a
random
shortage
number
of
generator-
teachers and all of that in the Philippines now because everybody is making 3x the money on Active, which I mean,
Hey.
it's not funny, which is probably not so great.
Teachers are overrated.
Nicholas, don't take my material, okay? Because I said that in the podcast. It's like, look, the entire Filipino community is out of labor force because they're all playing Axie right now.
Correct.
Yes, it's like it's gonna be a dystopian nightmare when
but-
all these trading things from Shannon are coming online, right? The whole global economy is going to collapse, right?
No, but in all
No, Eric, it's
seriousness,
the
this is-
creator economy, okay?
Yeah.
No, but this is
let's create our destruction, right?
no. But mark my words. Mark my words. This is a
Nicholas, all
forecast.
of these production are going to be gone because they're all going to be playing fucking trading games on Shannon's
Hold
platform.
on, we got a
No, but
forecast.
this is gonna be a forecast to if and when, and I'm more of a when than if guy, play to earn really universally takes off. You will see this in other countries, not only for teachers, right? There will be a lot of labor shortage because certain people think I can make, I don't know, $50 an hour playing Axie versus $12 an hour doing something that's really hard on my back. So it will have a larger economic impact than I think we will all foresee. And when I say it, I don't mean Axie, I mean play to earn in general. I'm
This is not
pretty
magic.
sure
Though.
about that.
The money's being funneled from one holder to another holder, and if the game's not fun, it's not going to funnel. It's not extensive. Like if Walter Driver puts a random number generator into my event tuning sheet in Excel, it doesn't make it a game. This is not a game. It is literally just a work simulator.
Ken, you're so old school, dude. Like you're hey boomer, welcome to the new world. All right,
Yeah.
look, that's not what we're
used to be-
talking about. Have you ever played a free to play game? Do you think that's a game?
Of course I have. I used
It's
to
a
sell.
progression engine. That's a fucking progression engine. Like that's not a game. You know?
I used to sell currency.
Whatever
in
tea
online
Kress is
illegally.
drinking,
I
I want
understand play to earn, but like there's nothing fun about Axie. Like I can understand selling WoW Gold. I sold WoW Gold. I bought WoW Gold. I understand that, but like this is not the same thing.
Well, if you
We're
look
not
at
talking about whether
Analyst,
Axie is
it-
fun to
it
play,
really
right?
does-
That's not the question here right now, is it?
I mean, it
Let's
is.
Alright.
move on. Let's move
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Because I
let's
think-
let's move on. Axie was the unanimous winner. Biggest
Unanimous.
surprise,
You'll have
yeah.
to drink after that. Just
Yeah.
pound one for Axie, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thanks for everything, Axie.
Oh,
All right.
I'm a lightweight, guys. I'm already feeling it. I've only gone through 3 White Claws, but I'm feeling it. All right.
Has that bottle arrived yet?
It has not, but we'll keep going till it arrives, and then I'll definitely have to drink from it.
Probably.
All right. So let's cut this back a little bit, JK. What's the
All right.
biggest comeback? Just like a one-liner for you. Just saying.
Eric's
Big-
got to get to the gym, so let's get this thing moving.
Yeah.
All right. We'll skip
I
the
got
biggest
some weight
comeback.
to lose, man. Look at me.
All right, biggest comeback. I gotta say, Amazon New World. Everybody thought New World was dead. It had a super successful launch, 800K CCU according to SteamDB, and the word on the street was that people thought that the games division was basically headed for, getting chopped. But now with the success of New World, obviously Crucible got canceled. Andy Jassy, Jeff Bezos have both publicly come out supporting the games division and basically kind of reiterated this message of, see, it takes investment in order to make something successful. Now, I'm not going to say that New World ultimately is a successful long-term game, but in terms of like a comeback from having, so much, I don't know, distrust and skepticism around Amazon's gaming division and having something that actually did launch pretty successfully, I will say New World.
You're out of your mind, but go ahead. Next one.
All right. Brian, who do you got?
I was thinking about New World, but honestly, I think if I had to take a little closer lens at it, I think the odds of that game not being around in 5 years are greater than it being around.
Okay.
And by not being around,
That's
I think 10 to 20,000 DAO or something like that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of bluster when it came out about, hey, we fucking made it or whatever, but it takes a lot more than that to build a long-term game, and I'm not sure if Amazon has the DNA to do that.
Well, also the scale expectation for an Amazon is very different than 99.5% of companies. So
I don't have another nomination, JK. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Javier, who's your nomination?
I have 2 nominations actually. One is CDPR because I think that they are now doing a comeback with Cyberpunk. They are now positive on the Steam reviews. The Christmas went well for them, and they're now preparing the new edition of the game, kind of relaunch of the game, and I think that can be very positive. And my second nomination is Supercell because they stopped the revenue decline that they have been declining for a while, and now they're up. Most of that. Chris, Eric, don't sabotage me, man.
They did stop declining. That's true.
Only
they
in
did
the
stop
world.
declining.
Only in the world of the absolute love for Supercell can you say that they're the top winner or top.
Now, I didn't say
comeback
top winner.
because they
I'm
didn't
saying biggest
lose
comeback.
revenue. The biggest comeback
think-
because they didn't lose revenue for like the 5th year in a row, right? It's unbelievable.
Let's
the
not
love
forget
for
Riverdale.
Supercell, right? Okay.
I am a Supercell fanboy, but nevertheless, I think that stopping their fall is something pretty impressive, especially because that came from Clash Royale that was on a huge decline for quite a while, and being able to turn around a game that is so old, I think that is pretty impressive. Now the question is if they can now start to grow again. But
Counterpoint, Everdale. You know, it was the
Yeah.
fucking worst game.
Yeah, it was the worst game ever.
Go on.
I need to have like job security in the future, so I can't shit on them too much. Let's just move on, okay?
All right, Ken, who's your pick?
Mine is Apex. So you know me, I've been
Okay.
like a PC fanboy for a long time. I worked at Blizzard. I played literally every BR you can think of. Apex was sort of a sleeper for me. It felt initially when it launched like a bit of a replication of other things that we'd seen in the industry, but over the years they've differentiated quite significantly, and you can see that now. Their Twitch viewership is spiking pretty hardcore. They've basically cannibalized all of Call of Duty's BR viewership, or a large majority of it. I think Apex really is one of the games that we need to keep our eye on here in 2022.
Yeah, I agree with Ken on this one. I think Apex has shown amazing resilience and amazing live ops for a team that didn't have any experience of this at all when they launched it. They just basically started from nothing. And if you look, I look at like engagement numbers, and the only game that's maintained interest is Apex. Everything else is down 30, 40, 50%, even Fortnite. So yeah, I think they've done a great job with Apex.
I think they're confident too in it. I've seen a lot of pretty expensive marketing push behind it in the last month or so.
And mobile is coming, which should help them in Asia. I don't think it matters in the West at all, but I think in Korea and Japan, that's going to be a big, those markets relatively aren't as big as China, US, but within those markets, I think a mobile Apex is going to be quite successful. And if they can get it into China at some point ever with Tencent helping them, that's a big opportunity as well.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing I think they may be missing, and that I might just be ignorant on this, is the esports scene doesn't seem to be existent at all for this FPS. So I'd question what they're doing in that regards. If there's going to be any esport related to it.
Dude, esports is over. Come on, man.
I think that wave's gone.
Yeah, it's over. Dude.
Valorant is still sticking around. It's
growing. By the way, Valorant's got to be an honorable mention too. They've done quite well this year. So absolutely. I'll give it out to Riot for that one.
Shannon, what do you got? Who do you got?
I'm surprised, Eric. I'm surprised you didn't say GameStop.
No.
Come on, think about the money play. Since you're all.
But how is that a comeback? Aside from
comeback?
People,
it's like the real underdog story. Didn't you guys all grow up?
But they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything.
You literally just go to the store, pick up like whatever games, bring it back home,
dude,
and they went completely like nonsense, like zero, like no one gave a fuck about them. And then with Wall Street Bets and all the other, retail investors pumping it up like crazy with the short game against.
So your comeback of the year is Wall Street Bets. It's not GameStop.
It's memes. Yeah.
It's nothing to do with GameStop, was just a proxy for rational exuberance. It has nothing to do with GameStop.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Too many analysts on this call getting triggered.
Matthew talks like a professor sometimes, Like GameStop is a $6 stock, basically. So everything else is just a meme and total like exuberance as the professor. I'm calling you for the professor.
Sorry, I read too much Alan Greenspan.
Yeah. No, I mean, GameStop is ridiculous. And then they show this NFT thing. They're up 25% after hours. Thank God people started to like get real, and it's only up 3%. But yeah, GameStop's a zero. Sorry.
All right, let's vote on this. So who votes for New World? And by the way, I'm not saying New World's going to be successful in 22, but for 21, like going from potentially getting shut down to having Jassy and Bezos say, hey, our games division is doing well. I would say that's a good comeback. But anyway, anyone for New World? I will vote for New World.
I'm going to come with you, even though I thought the arguments on Apex were amazing.
It's got 8,000 viewers right now on Twitch. 8,000.
Yeah, it's in 2022. It's down to number 28. So more like instead of being top 10, it's more like top 30.
But I think it switched the narrative, because the narrative before New World was Amazon cannot make it, and now Amazon cannot keep it up. And I think that's a big change of narrative.
No. Hold on a minute. I'm not allowing this anymore. Look, Amazon and video games is done.
We're already at voting, Eric. There's no more arguing right now.
I'll allow it. Go, Eric. Go.
Stop it. Amazon is done. Like, they've lost all their teams. They haven't been able to get games out. This game is a disaster, right? They did their 4 million units or whatever they did. Now no one is playing this game. Like, Amazon is done. The only thing that Amazon has left in the kitty is to do an acquisition. And maybe they acquire fucking, I think they should actually go after Zynga, because Zynga's toast. They go after. I can't really say any more than that. But like, there's just no way.
Voting on other stuff, but
There's no freaking way that Amazon continues in this direction anymore. Like they just don't. They forget it. All right, enough of that.
New World's in my biggest missed opportunities. This is just like blowing my mind that you guys think this.
Okay.
All right.
Nobody's voting, right?
So I think we had. Okay. Well, we got before Apex. We've got CD Projekt and Cyberpunk 2077. Who's voting for that?
Wait, what?
One.
I think aren't we still with the comebacks? And I was waiting to vote for Apex. What happened?
Yeah.
Javi's
Someone had an argument for CDPR is having a comeback, but I'm not sure it's relevant now.
Okay. All right. Apex. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Apex wins. Drink.
Apex wins.
Drink.
Congrats.
Drink.
More caffeine, Eric. More caffeine.
All right. Moving on.
I'm just getting warmed up, man. Let's talk MOBAs, please.
All right. Let's get there. Biggest missed opportunity of 2021. Javier, go.
I'm going to say Valve because all the competitors of Valve have mobile strategies. Valve does not. Instead, we got Alex, we got Steam Deck, weird things that really are not the reality of the gaming industry. And I feel that Dota Underlords, which was their launch on the only game that I think so far they have launched on mobile, they could have been the start of their mobile strategy like it was for Riot, but instead of that, they abandoned it. So for me, Valve, big company, but they are entirely missing out the mobile world, which is the future of gaming. So I feel that's the biggest missed opportunity.
Javier,
but what happens when you move to New Zealand?
Javier, but wouldn't you say like maybe Epic's Game Store would be a bigger missed opportunity than Valve in 2021? Like the way they executed the store seemed a little weak to me relative to what they could have done. But anyway, all right. So we got Valve. Second, I'm going to say Pokemon Unite. Now, I think Pokemon Unite is a fantastic game. Been playing with my whole family this weekend, and I've been playing a little bit off and on here and there. But I just think that you got the Pokemon license. We saw Pokemon Go explode out the gate. The gameplay is great. I think the mistake that was made was really around, and I won't go into this in too much detail. I'll write about it or talk about it later in more depth. But where they really screwed up, in my opinion, is that they got the gameplay right. They got the systems wrong. They got the monetization wrong. And that was a big missed opportunity. Like if you look at the monetization for the game, it's very weak. But I think you got to be able to monetize similar to like, kind of like at least like a shooter game or more than they have. And so for me, I felt like you have the Pokemon license, you have really great gameplay. You've got a strong early mid game. I think the late game in Pokemon Unite is a little bit weak, but still serviceable. But I definitely think they could have done the monetizations and the systems design better.
You know what they could have done? Is not make a fucking
MOBA.
For fuck's sake, stop making
Plus
MOBA.
one.
Right? I mean, like, look, how many bodies are on the ground on MOBAs, right? We have Riot's game, which is fucking horrendous, right? Marvel Super War, which is a top fucking production value game from Netmarble, right? That's a disaster. Catalyst Black is a disaster already in beta. And, like Super Eagle Megacorp keeps making the same fucking game, expecting different results. They're like, it's insanity, right? Stop making MOBAs for the West, period. End of sentence, okay? Like, it's not going to work. If Pokemon Unite and Riot's game don't work, League of Legends, nothing is going to work. Just stop, okay? But I agree with you. That is a good one. Pokemon.
Well,
The
I'm
Oracle has spoken.
I'm gonna have to disagree and say like this is the game my kids are playing the most all the time, and like I like this is finally a game that like a dad can play with the whole family, and so I think they got that part like absolutely right. But it's like how do I even monetize in this game? They've hidden the monetization so much.
Because
then
it's a fucking MOBA.
Exactly.
They don't monetize. That's the
No,
whole
no,
point.
but you
I love how
could
cute
easily
you
do
are,
it.
Joseph.
You
Like,
could
think, like, things are
easily
gonna
make
change
you
because
could
your kids
easily
are
make
playing
them
it?
like okay. All right, Eric, I'm gonna write something on how they could have done this appropriately.
Nice.
Incoming
Oh my God,
90,000
you
word
convinced me.
article.
Step one,
Please,
not make a
can-
MOBA.
Convince more developers to make MOBAs, right?
All right.
See what
Is
you
that
can
game
make,
live
it's
in
gonna make
China?
6 more.
Is it live in China? No. China.
Pokemon Unite, yeah, it did okay in China, but
Yeah, I mean,
it got
Oh, it's in
it
China?
quickly
I didn't know that.
it quickly got overtaken. I mean, it didn't make a dent in Honor of Kings and League of Legends. Once that launched, Pokemon Unite kind of disappeared.
Yeah, great game, poor systems, poor monetization, can be fixed.
No, cannot.
No, disagree.
Stop.
It's dead. Move on.
All right, Ken, who do you got?
I've got New World. Yeah, this for me was a huge missed opportunity. You got Amazon billions pouring into a studio, but like no big brains there to help develop it. There was some execution misses on their side that were just unforgivable from a development perspective. I know that like there's a lot of game devs here on this call, but making an MMO that's client authoritative fucking blows my mind. That's like the dumbest tech take of all time. And it could have been something really cool. I mean, the MMO space is really, really hard to iterate in. The World of Warcraft's done everything you can think of. So like their territory control system could have been like somewhat revolutionary, but they've like completely shit the bed on execution over and over and over these last few months. Like, and if you look at their engagement numbers, they're just like falling through the floor. I keep on hearing like Telfer in my ear say that all it takes is another expansion and this game is going to like go through the roof. But like, it's not. There's no way this thing is going to do anything. It's just going to, right off into the graveyard at Amazon, and nobody's going to even talk about it anymore.
Meanwhile, Josh has turned into a ghost or something. It's really interesting. Black flame that he left behind when he left the screen.
Sucked into the metaverse back there.
Disappeared into the metaverse. There is one in the chat, and I threw out the game before, so I guess we can throw it out as well as a missed opportunity. Marvel Future Revolution, like the game was really well built, it was really fun, but there was no content post launch to retain people, and so like that's a huge missed opportunity. So that's a good shout, because like I churned out of that so quickly. I hit the level cap and I was done with it. Like, and there was just nothing left to do.
I love that game. I love that game. That game was amazing. That
it was great,
really
but there was no content to keep you once you hit level cap, and that was the problem.
Yeah,
I've got another one real quick, which is Everdale. I know I didn't write in the notes, but do you know the amount of game designers I know that wanted to play this game and just got burnt out after a week is astronomical. It's like the perfect hooks for retention, but no monetization, shitty social systems, and they haven't released content in 5 months, which is crazy for Supercell, right? Like Brawl Stars also wasn't a big hit when it first launched, and then they continued to iterate for months and months after that. For whatever reason, the cell that's working on Everdale just fucking sucks.
But they stopped stopped hemorrhaging revenue, so they're good, right? I mean, Supercell's in a good shape now.
All right, biggest missed opportunities for 2021: Valve, Pokemon Unite, Marvel Future Fight, New World, Everdale. Who votes for Valve? 0.
Not
Okay.
even me. Not even me.
Pokemon Unite. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Winner,
That's a dub.
chicken dinner.
Winner. We're good.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
We're good. We're
That's
good.
the majority.
All right. Next. biggest. Oh, go ahead.
No, you have to
Drink,
drink
guys.
first.
Oh, yeah.
Drink.
You have to drink.
Found some White Claw.
Host.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Joseph. Next thing that I'm sending you is like those little beer cozies just for White Claws.
Oh,
Yes.
Who was that?
Oh,
Happy
that
Friday.
one. There was no replacement for this placement. That was a nice one. Don't know where it came from. I've been muting myself for those. I didn't know those were cool. All right. This
Yeah,
is
these
getting
are
unleashed.
these
I
are
love it.
definitely hitting me pretty hard.
You're like bright
Will
red, dude.
I?
I gotta like put a lens over you, dude.
All right. So next is biggest news of 2021. Niklas, who do you got?
I'm scrolling through the list. What are we talking about?
Sorry.
Oh,
Epic.
yeah. So no, I just remember my answer to this one, and yeah. So Apple Epic lawsuit was obviously big news. I know it started in 2020, but the verdict came out in 2021. And although there is this argument to be made that Apple prevailed, you know, in the for the majority of claims, it still went down in my mind as, you know, finally somebody took on Apple, and they succeeded because the tail managed to wag the dog, because Apple, you know, for the first time in when did the App Store launch? 2008. Can't, you know, dictate anymore that there is only one payment processor system and that is their own. So I have to say that was a big surprise to me. A welcoming, or a surprise I very much welcome, because, you know, while I like a lot of Apple products and services, I also disagree with them on some things fundamentally, and that's one of them. And, you know, having been an indie developer before, you know, there's a beauty about, you know, having all of this built in, but it also sucks to, you know, always have to fork over 30% and not, you know, being able to circumvent or surround that. So that's the biggest news for me, because also that was a big surprise in 2021. And I think there will be trickle-down effects from this that we will see over the next decade, you know, be it that other people will dare, or other companies will dare to take on Apple. I think that's something that we will see, you know, to what extent this will be exploited. I think it will have a significant impact on how marketplaces are going to be built and monetized. Not only, and, you know, both as far as, you know, the existing ones, you know, will they have to change, as well as the new ones that we will certainly see that nobody has even, you know, conceived yet. So that was pretty big news and big surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, you had some thoughts on this too, right? Apple versus Epic.
Yeah, this is from Insider Baseball. There's just so many companies right now building web marketplaces. This verdict was just massive in the PM space, with everybody drooling over 25% increased margins. I don't know if it's going to like fully pan out to be that way.
Yeah, we'll see.
But like this thing created waves that I've never seen before. Like my PM community is everywhere blowing up over it. So apart
It's
from
like 5%, but 5% still a lot.
Exola is
Yeah, you
going
can
nuts
use
right
Exola or any like third-party payments. That's what we were doing
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia since like 2016.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get away with
going
that
from-
in Southeast Asia, but not in the United States or UK, right?
But
Going
Apple
from
has said that they are going to
30%
get their
mark-
code no matter what, right?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. So JK is like one of the few people that called this out. This blows my mind. The fact that they think that they're going to get money from people. Like, yes, they're going to try. And the good,
Dude, they'll
the
pull
good
you off the
devs
store.
They definitely.
They still have leverage.
Yeah,
man.
there's going to be the good folks that are going to do it, and there's going to be loads of devs that also hide and obfuscate their money. So
Yeah.
It's-
Anyway,
it's,
that's a much of a longer discussion. Brian,
Yeah, Brian, what do you got?
I think, you know, it's a tough one to talk about, but I think that the headlines we've seen from a variety of companies, but especially Activision, around harassment in the workplace, and has reverberated throughout the industry in several different harmful ways. And I think that the one thing that I'd like to get across is that the folks that felt like they had to leave because of stuff like this certainly hope they come back, because the industry needs diversity. The industry needs a lot of different people involved to entertain fans, build games, everything. But that was a tough one to be exposed to and read while being someone that's, you know, involved and employed by the gaming industry.
And Ken, maybe not to get you in trouble, but
no, Ken.
since I'm drunk.
Don't-
Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. So I will say Netflix, and basically Netflix launched their mobile offering. Oh, sorry, last November. And look, I'm not saying that Netflix is going to be successful, but I'm saying that, you know, they have the potential for entertainment companies to come in and offer a service that is basically a different kind of model, right? One in which that's more tied to the ability for them to offer something that helps to prevent churn or lock in their service versus another entertainment service provider. I think if this works, like if it reduces churn by a little bit, is a big deal. And Reed Hastings, has famously mentioned, has suggested that, you know, their biggest competitor is not the other entertainment companies like HBO Max, Disney, Disney Plus and services like that, but more Fortnite. And so I would say that potentially, and it's hard to see for now, but in 2021, that may wind up being the biggest impact if it plays out as it potentially could or not.
No,
And Eric, go ahead.
I agree on the impact. I just think versus the two things we talked about for biggest news, it's not in the same category.
It's big, but it's nowhere near either of the other two, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a huge debate on what Netflix can do in this space, but we'll leave it forever. But I'm actually just going to basically say the same thing. That the Activision, the culmination of all the Activision PR, culminating with the Wall Street Journal article was probably the biggest news in terms of this space ever, right? For a long, long time. So that was nutty. The fact that Bobby is still CEO of Activision blows my freaking mind, right? And I don't think he's going to get kicked. I do have a theory, though. I think maybe in 6 months he gets kicked. He becomes chairman. But
to a certain degree, he can only kick himself, right? So
right. He owns the board.
Unless the passive
How much dirt does
funds,
he have on the board?
grow a spine and actually think ESG is real.
They don't do that. They're
No,
not.
I think things like this
They say that ESG is important, but they don't actually do anything about it.
Yeah,
things like this don't typically collapse until you see some kind of financial compression or maybe change in fundamentals. And if games keep coming out.
They went from $108 to $58.
That's not
not
fundamentals.
good
That's a stock
compression
price,
they need.
right? It's not like revenue growth. It's not profitability. When those things start crumbling,
Revenue
because
growth, their biggest games got kicked out
I
indefinitely.
hear you,
There's-
man.
Dude,
I know,
wait,
but it's a longer.
I
battle.
guarantee you, in the next 2 years, this stock is $90. Easy.
We gotta no.
Okay,
We gotta step away from this. Yes.
All right, so let's
talk about this.
The choices are Apple versus Epic, Activision News, or Netflix. Who votes for Apple versus Epic?
And for everybody, as a reminder, we're talking about the biggest news, right? Maybe
biggest news of 2021.
if this is an audio thing, remind people what the category is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks, Niklas. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
So who's voting for
Coaching.
Apple versus Epic News? We got 4. All right,
It should be a tie. Make it a tie.
Activision. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Joe, you gotta vote for this.
JK, you
All
gotta
right,
break it.
Netflix. I'm gonna break it with. All right, I will say. I don't. God damn it! I'm like,
It's tough.
hard for me to
Well, take a sip. Take a sip. That
Take a
helps.
sip and then decide.
How about we give a joint award and we'll just leave it there.
4.5.
The only thing I would say is that even though the Activision news was freaking huge, that Apple versus Epic is just massive industry news. Like it surpasses one game developer. This is every single person who pushes anything to the App Store is affected by this. So
And it reshapes the future.
There it is.
All right, you guys convinced me. Apple versus Epic. Let's do it. All right, let's go. Let's go.
I think you guys are really over. Your expectations are too high on what this means.
But I think that's
Eric, that was the
actually-
moment we were all supposed to be silent and drink and not, reminisce about the vote that we didn't appreciate.
All right.
We can
So,
go-
Eric's
we can go
drinking
again.
coffee, so
all right, we're gonna bring this thing to a close. So with one last award to give, which is the biggest game or big game update you're looking forward to in 2022. I am going to kick it off with my personal favorite. In my opinion, this is super easy. God of War Ragnarok, scheduled to release this year. God of War was a masterpiece. And the trailer for Ragnarok looks amazing. I even think like some of the controversy, like with the black female as Loki's wife, I think all the controversy actually even helps. Personal opinion, but and from the trailer you see the crackling hammer. Obviously, Thor's going to be one of the big adversaries in that game. Looks just amazing. So I am submitting God of War Ragnarok as the biggest game. Big game update to look forward to in 2022.
There's no fucking way this comes out in 2022. So moving on.
All right,
I like
Brian,
that they added 2023 to the paper doc.
Yes.
all right, Brian, who do you got?
Yeah, mine's kind of a dark horse. Kerbal Space Program 2. The first one I just started playing maybe 3 years ago, and it came out in 2011. A lot has changed in space travel. A lot has changed in co-op gameplay. But like the first one was very cerebral. You had to like understand physics to play it. And, I think when we're all searching for those gaming moments over the course of our lives, we're really surprised, we're really excited that we did something. Like whenever I orbited or hit the moon, that was always pretty cool for me. So if they find a way to make this game interesting for new games 10 years later with all the new implementations of space travel with reusable rockets and things like that, I think it can go a long way in educating people about space. So I think it's a cool one to keep an eye on.
All right. And Ken, who do you got?
I've got Diablo Immortal. It's out in soft launch or whatever, test launch or whatever. So I can talk about it. It's beautiful. It's basically a PC game on mobile. I don't know if I'd classify it being made as Blizzard. It's sort of like co-developed. It's got some interesting evolutions off of D3. That resonates super strong with core Diablo fans. The only thing I would say is that I'm not sure this is going to be a business success. Monetization design in the releases that they pushed so far,
Not without China.
Pretty abysmal.
Even with China.
Yeah, but it needed China to have any hope.
If they don't add a few more aggressive PMs to that team, I don't think the game's going to do super well for the business. And that's where I sit. But the team that's working on it's phenomenal at Blizzard and at the partner studio.
I have a last minute submission. I missed the question earlier, but I would have chosen GTA 6, and then I realized there's no way it will come out in 2022, so I had to scrape that. But what I'm genuinely looking forward to is Gran Turismo 7, and I think that has a good chance of actually being released in 2022. And, fight me on it, but I just think, they have been awesome games for 20-something years now, and a new one only comes out, twice a decade, and I'm looking forward to this one because it's pretty much still the racing game on the planet. So,
all right, Josh Burns.
Yeah, so I'm pretty interested in what Netflix is going to do. I know some people are not as bullish, but
there's like 5 people at Netflix, dude. What are you talking about? They got nothing, dude. It's years from now.
And one of them worked at 7-Up or Sprite before, probably, right, Eric?
They got 100. They have a huge audience. They have a platform. They're taking it. They're not doing the Amazon where they're trying to make one incredibly successful game. So I think it's not a sexy strategy, but I think they're being plodding along. And I don't know. I'm really interested. I could be wrong. We can do this in a year, and you can tell me I'm a fool. But
no. I'm totally with you. I'm really curious and fascinated with what they're going to do. I just don't think it's going to be anything in 2022 that's going to be.
I think anybody that's putting money to work on a longer time period for 2 to 3 years with special branded IP and story-based content and games is going to succeed over the next 5 years. So Netflix is, I like that.
Yeah, but I think
if they want to create Genshin for Netflix, they need 800 developers, and they're not going to be able to make this game with 800 Netflix developers.
They do have an internal studio though, because what I have seen so far is that they have been licensing other games and buying stuff from Gameloft or catalog, like a game that several of us worked at, Asphalt Extreme.
By the end of December, they had 5 people. That's it. They no game developers, nothing. They're building from scratch. And look, he'll do it, but I whatever.
But also remember, look at the content on the platform, right? This isn't all highbrow, super high-end experience, right? So I think we're all in the industry. We're expecting some amazing, innovative experiences, but I think there's a lot that can be done with something that's not super sexy. If it's back catalog games and stuff that people actually will play and engage with, that for us is lame. Anyway,
all right.
I'm interested.
My vote is Starfield because I actually do think this game is going to come out because he promised it would come out. But Starfield from Bethesda, exclusive on Microsoft, Xbox, as well as PC, and not coming to Sony PlayStation, you fanboys. I think this game is probably going to be the biggest game next year, and I'm excited because I just love Bethesda games, generally speaking. So,
but that thing can roll to any direction. I'm really scared about that one.
Why?
They haven't shown a lot of gameplay, if any. I don't know.
They're doing the Rockstar playbook, dude. They don't give a fuck, right?
That's why I feel good about them with the Microsoft banner. If you need time, they're going to give you time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Bethesda releases one good game and then one bad game, and now it's about them releasing a good game. But we will see.
But I will argue that sci-fi is always divisive. right? Like fantasy is really easy. Like the broadest market possible loves fantasy, but the sci-fi, you either love it or hate it. And so it limits the upside potential. But if it's a great game, people will play it regardless, right? So, and I think this is the only team that matters at Bethesda, and they make great games. So, I wonder, yeah, does anybody know if it's next gen only by chance? I didn't look closely.
I don't know.
Anyway, we'll see.
All right, Matthew Kanterman, last submission, take us home.
Gonna take us back to CD Projekt and Cyberpunk 2077 because the next update, the next patch is coming, and the next gen version of it, and I'm not so much excited about it for this game because this game's already dead. But if they can get this back to being steady, kind of what Javier was alluding to before, with in decent numbers adding the Christmas season, when then we get them working on Witcher 4 over the next few years, they can go back to what they're good at with Witcher and the hype around the Witcher franchise. I think you'll start to see them potentially regain some steady footing and go back to what they really know and what they're really proven at doing. And so that's why I'm kind of really interested in this. And while it's in the chat, someone threw in the Riot MMO, but that game is many years away. We're going to get the fighter game before we get the MMO game.
We're going to be living in some Facebook server someday when that comes out. So
Meta. It'll be a meta server.
I don't think Cyberpunk is dead. I think that can make a real comeback because the market penetration they got.
2088.
Whoa. Cyberpunk?
No, I think Cyberpunk is dead. I just want to see. I want to see
done.
the company get back on steady footing and show us what the game could actually look like by fixing it and having it come out on for the next gen versions, so we can start to think about what Witcher 4 could actually be and what the real potential there is for them in a few years.
Okay, so looks like our nominations are God of War Ragnarok, Kerbal 2, Diablo Immortal, Gran Turismo 6, Netflix generally, and a Cyberpunk 2077 update.
How about Starfield? Maybe.
God.
No.
Yeah, sorry.
Just like 7 White Claws in.
Yeah, dude.
The struggle bus here.
Did someone say Kerbal 2? I don't remember.
That was me.
Yeah, Kerbal 2's on.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. God of War Ragnarok. 1.
I'm going to get one vote too, JK. It's fine, man.
Oh, wait. Are you giving me a vote?
No, I'm going to give a vote to myself like you did.
Okay. Kerbal 2. Diablo Immortal. 1. All right. Gran Turismo 6. 1. Netflix.
This is a pretty lame. This is so
Netflix is lame, man. That's what was that?
1.
Ask the audience, Joe.
Wait, Netflix got 2?
Yeah.
No.
All right.
I'm voting for Netflix.
Starfield.
Oh, that's 3
Hey,
That's a double vote from Ken.
I'm voting for that just so Netflix doesn't win.
Cyberpunk 2077 update.
No way. I love you, Matt, but no way.
All right. So Starfield wins it.
I voted for Starfield.
All right.
Okay, fair enough.
Great.
All right.
Cheers.
Well, guys, I think that's it. A little bit.
Joe is gone.
That was a lame, pretty lame ending. If that's the ending.
Okay. Is there any other questions from the audience before we wrap this up?
When are we going to take a bathroom break? That's my question.
When are we going to get a game from Leela Games?
Yeah, I got to take a piss pretty bad.
Take a knee.
No questions.
All right. So I think if there are no other comments, maybe let's see.
Joe, what's one rumor that you've heard for 2022 in the first quarter?
Oh, I can't. I've already put it in the Slack. I can't speak about it publicly.
No, it could be something else.
Rumor.
Haha. Okay, that's my question.
Peer pressure.
JK, do you want to do 2022 predictions to sign
was
off?
the acquisition of there's an acquisition that will be announced shortly.
Okay.
There's a bunch of those. Anyway.
So is it Leela Games? What stock are we buying next week?
The stock to buy always is Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Always buy Tesla.
100%.
You're
All right,
celebrating a
How's
raise
that
after this,
ARK
right, Joe?
investment doing?
I
for
was
you
about
there?
to say, thank you.
Oh, I don't invest in ARK, but I do invest in Tesla. So
Dude, you were such a fanboy of that woman, and she's fucking
Kathy?
brutal.
No,
She is
Hey,
brutal.
she's actually really fucking smart. So
Yeah,
but her performance is shit. Because it wasn't
no,
for-
you just need to pull that out at the right time. That's all it is.
Whoa!
Her job
I,
is
thi- I feel like stock selection is like a new issue IPO ETF is just not the best move. Like I don't know. It's not really selection involved there. It's more like feed me.
I'm a non-diversified, highly concentrated investor.
I know.
50% Tesla, Google, and unfortunately Alibaba. Unfortunately, but,
Oh my God.
Well,
I told you it was
Baba will be
uninvestable
fine.
in July, and you
The
doubled
last
down.
thing the last thing I want to see in my ETFs is marketing dollars. Let the stock selection speak for itself and keep my fees low. Thank you.
all right. Okay.
That's it? No Cressons? No? God.
Let's see.
Only 2 viewers, so
Amen to Tesla stock. It's a good question.
All right.
We got a bunch of viewers
I
on
think
YouTube
people
as well.
want a Kress show. Eric,
Just
Yeah.
zoom out.
you should start your
more,
own show.
more coffee, more
More
coffee.
coffee, more
Now
crest.
for the actual concert.
Listen to the Deconstructor of Fun podcast. You'll get enough of me. You won't even want more because I just threw
There
a
you
shade
go.
on everybody.
All right, guys.
I would
Well,
watch a reality show 24 hours following Elic Red.
No,
See
you
him
don't want
rant
that. Are you
about
kidding
everything.
me? Dude, that's like the most boring thing ever, dude. I'm with the old men at the
Watching him
club.
Peloton.
Yeah.
all right, guys. Yeah, I really have to use the restroom pretty badly. So, with that, thanks everyone for joining. We had a few people join us, and this will all go out to YouTube and the podcast and the whatever it'll go out to. So, thanks, guys, and that is it. Catch y'all later.
Cheers.
Y'all.